Hi, my name is Israel Vasquitelli. Welcome to the Turntable, a roundtable discussion featuring music and entertainment business students, grads, and anyone with a vested interest in the music business. And today we have some amazing panelists, including two artists that are going to bring something very distinctive to the table. We have Ashley J., a pop artist, and we also have the amazing Theo Lodge, a hip hop artist. And we're going to talk about independent artists that do shows and tour overseas. And that's what really struck me about both of you is that, you know, even though you're independents, you keep yourselves busy by visiting other countries and doing your thing overseas. So let's talk a little bit about that. What would you say is the number one way that you get booked to play outside of the U.S.? Either one of you.
Just visiting, kind of knowing those markets through either social media, besides booking agencies, just kind of doing a poll, a normal standardized poll of being like, hey, if I were to come to your country, would you want to see me type of ordeal? And then linking up with other artists who are like, hey, yeah, I'm playing a show here, and just either tagging along or booking your own set and then having someone kind of play with you as well. Just testing a market for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to add to what Ashley said, she's right. You reach out, and it's all about networking. And networking, people don't realize it's like a friendship. You know, if that person value you, they'll let you in. If not, they're not letting you in. So as far as the stands that me and Darrell took, and we just seen it. We networked. We met with some people, and we sent them the music because I need you to hear the product before you could do anything. And once you get the product, you know where you could place it. And so once they got that, it was like X amount of spots. So we kind of did it with the networking / music, and then set it up, and then we went.
So I would imagine almost instinctively most folks would think that playing locally would be the most obvious outlet for an artist here from the United States, independent artist, obviously maybe in your backyard. Tell me a little bit about maybe some of the hurdles of playing here locally versus overseas.
I mean, I've personally struggled with, just finding the local market right now here where we're based. If you've not, I feel like this is more into film, and I've found more film and voiceover work here versus just performing live and kind of doing that. My hurdle has been just, some people want band only. So they want a 5-piece band, which is very costly. Or they want somebody who, doesn't play track or only plays track. So if you don't have those balances of playing to track or not playing track, playing acoustic, not playing acoustic, it's super difficult. But I mean, I've had more luck with more excitement overseas, rather than people here who already we're all about bigger media and bigger artists right now. And so the independent still has, as always, and as it always has been, still has a way on their come up. There's a lot more work involved.
What about your experience?
My experience is, with both ends, like I receive the same love, both sides. But the difference in the U.S. is that I have to prove myself. I have to go in already like an army. Like I already taking shots. I don't know if it's innocent baby. I don't know who's there. I have to go in with the attitude like, man, I don't care about such and such, such and such. Versus, and then when I'm done, then the love. Then it's, oh man, you're dope. Don't prejudge me because I'm not J. Cole or Drake. Give me a chance first, and then make your judgment off that. Don't prejudge me. And overseas, the thing is, it's like a blindfold, and that's how I feel when I'm over there. It's like I'm rapping to blind people that can only hear, not judge me off nothing. If you're good, they accept you. Just like I feel like it should be. If you're good at anything, I feel like that should happen for you. And the thing locally here, people get caught up, and like you say, the hype. All capital letters. They get caught up in the hype, and they feel like, oh, well, he only got 1,000 followers. That has nothing to do with my talent and my ability. Maybe if you hit follow and everybody else you going to tell about me hit follow, I have 3,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm booked with J. Cole
Right.
and Drake doing the same song I did when I had 1,000 followers. Now I got 3. So
It's
that's
kind
how
of
I
like
see
that
it.
earlier. You know, it's a different judgment level. And, you know, I just feel like sometimes overseas, there's a lot more of acceptance versus judgment. You know, and not not in a nitpicky way, but they're a lot more forgiving if, you know, if something happens, and they're a lot more accepting, and they love a culture that they don't know. And they're very eager to find out about it and what you're about and your story versus other places.
Right. So you think that's where the excitement comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely. Just everyone wants what they can't have, so they're trying to grasp at something that they want to know and learning.
Right.
And it's, you know, and like you say, want what you can't have. Sometimes people feel like he shops at the same Walmart I shops at. Or I see him at this gym. I can touch him. So why is it important for me to go to his show?
Right.
But I can't see, but they don't understand that the stars and the musicians that's in the game right now that's making waves, they have local spots too. But people feel like validation is everything. Who's to say who's validated? Oh, because I got a blue check? So you mean right now, after this show, I go get a blue check on my Instagram? I matter? A blue check should make me matter because I was that same productive indie artist fighting every day like I'm fighting now with or without a blue check.
Right.
And I just feel like sometimes just because you see me and you're able to touch me, you treat me different. And I don't know. I just don't understand it. But
yeah, I think a lot of times folks will take artists for granted, especially in their own backyard. You know, maybe the market also matters, but I think I've been seeing that obviously as well for many years. So what are the biggest venues that you have played?
So I mean, I've played. Oh my goodness, I'm really popular in France and Russia, and I've yet to visit. I've been to France, but I've yet to visit Russia, and it's just not the time for me at the moment. But I would definitely have to say the UK has probably been my most biggest place. Just so many grateful people and so many people who just like my style and have given me a lot of ideas and motives behind what I write. The UK has definitely been one of my favorite places. And I love the energy that those people bring. Those fans, who I like to call friends, they're fantastic. And I would go 6 months out of a year if I could. They're incredible.
And what kind of venue capacity wise are those spaces?
The biggest venue I've ever played was roughly about 2,500, and I mean I was doing a lot of work. That's actually over here in the States and overseas.
So I want to turn to your manager and ask him a little bit about Theo's biggest venue overseas.
I think the biggest we put probably was the Mumbai, India. It was 1,000 people out there, and it was the day one. It was a 3-day festival. He closed out the show day one, and I kid you not, it felt like it was Jay-Z. And to see the great thing about Theo is his live performance is excellent, and you never know what he's gonna do. I don't even know what he's gonna do half the time.
me neither.
So to see the impact on him, on these people screaming his name, it's like that's what success is to me. So that's why I'm always telling artists, let's make you global, not local. You can live local, but you're global.
So we're lucky enough to have someone from the media on the table, and that's Frankie. Frankie, tell us a little bit about, and even though you're based here in the United States, I would imagine because you're also online, that folks from outside of the United States could tune in. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that call your attention for new artists that maybe you don't know anything about. What is it that gives you that catches your eye, that catches your ear, that motivates you to go out and learn more about them and maybe bring them into your show, whether it be, music or even maybe interview them?
You have to be authentic. There's just something about you that just has to stand out. That's how it was a lot more back then, I believe. And now everyone's just trying to catch onto the wave, just trying to be a part of the trend. So, that's why that's probably why here we don't appreciate the artist as much, because I feel like maybe too many people try to catch on to the trend as well. So again, it's just something has to pop out. There has to be a fun fact about you that kind of separates you from everybody else. Sound just has to have some kind of it needs to be distinctive. Distinctive, is that the word? I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's just something has to be different about you that's just gonna catch my eye. That's all I'm about. That and lyricism too. Who you grew up listening to, that all plays into the effect of it. So something has to pop out for me.
Indeed. So I love to learn a little bit about maybe some of the places for discovery. As someone in the media, obviously folks are going to send you things. But outside of that, where do you discover new music? Is it on blogs? Is it social media? Are there particular streaming platforms that you tune into to kind of find that next artist that's going to maybe make some noise? What do you think?
I mean, I feel like as an artist, if you want to be heard, you gotta grind and just put your music out everywhere, anything that you could find, whether it's Spotify, if I could find you on YouTube, Pandora, whether there's SoundCloud sometimes, just anywhere, even on Facebook, just grind and just keep putting it out there, and there's gonna be somebody who's gonna hear you out, and that's gonna help promote you as well.
Right. So I love to learn from all the artists and manager. What would you say is, number one, your most preferred tool online, and it could be social media, and also, if you don't mind sharing something that maybe was surprising to you. So in other words, maybe you dabbled in it a little bit and you were surprised that it kind of got you some traction. What do you think?
So social media for me, I'm a huge Instagrammer. I love it. I'm a visual person, so if I can see visually what someone's doing, like, I like that, and I'll follow it. And if I see you, like, and I think people see it that way for me too when they see me like traveling or they see me working or whatnot. It really sparks up conversation. Spotify is a great tool as well, just kind of updating my playlist so people know what I'm listening to and whoever I support. And then, mixing my own music on there as well. It kind of generates, it puts me in different categories with other artists, either big time or not. And I love that. Facebook surprised me. Facebook ads, you can, doing promotions that way. I mean, for $1 to $3 a daily, you can boost just your outreach incredibly. And I never was that kind of person to realize, like, I don't need to, they'll see it naturally, and unfortunately it doesn't work that way.
Not anymore.
So, right, definitely not anymore. So Facebook definitely surprised me in that sense that you actually, if you're not promoting it through their Facebook ads, which is also tied to Instagram, the outreach is 10 times lower than it is versus if you are, depending on how much funding you're going to put behind it. And it could be for a single picture, it could be for an entire group. It just depends on what you put up there.
And the beautiful thing about that is that once upon a time, advertising was really a hurdle because if you want to advertise in your favorite music magazine, it probably couldn't afford it. Today, you could hyper target. You could even target fans of another artist that maybe has a little bit more traction and be able to reach those people.
The beauty of a hashtag.
There you go. That too. I
thought that was corny until I used them, and I'm like, oh, hashtag girl, 5,000 likes. Hashtag this, and it's incredible.
There you go. Yeah. So what do you think, Theo? Favorite platform?
Favorite? I'm going to say Instagram.
Okay.
And why? Like she said, now that they teamed up with Facebook, you can boost. So I learned, I said, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to post a regular, then I'm going to post one that people see sponsored. People pay more attention to, like I said, my word of the day is validation. They feel like if it's sponsored, it's validated by Instagram. They let him do that? I need to see what's going on. Not he let it do him himself. He did it. And when I do that, it's like the DMs roll in, the everything is just like everything that you say. Like you say, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna organically let it happen to me. Like everybody use these words. I'm gonna organically go out and get 10,000. Exactly. So I did that note, and like I said, it works good. And me, I'm one of them guys like I always defend, like I don't need for Instagram to say, hey, we see your hard work. We're gonna give you a blue check because of. I don't need that. I'm doing me. If y'all see it, cool. If you don't, I'm still doing me. And another thing that surprised me is that one day I just went out and I put my number. I saved everybody into a group. And I just direct, like, boom. I just posted a new picture on IG. I just uploaded something on Spotify. Hey, iTunes. And I see, because before it was like, sometimes you miss it. Like she said, like for example, she don't be on social media like that we discussed earlier. But if I send it directly to her, she could go look for it. And sometimes I used to always say, they gonna see it.
Mm-hmm.
They seen I posted that. But I learned once I send it to them, I like that. The feedback that I've been looking for, it came immediately versus a week later, a month later, or, hey man, when you dropping something new?
Mm-hmm.
And then you write back, a month ago. You know what I mean? And it's one of those hurdles. Is like, when you get direct, I find that surprising, because me, I like to be hands-on, but you know, as your career grow, you can't be. So I take the time now, like a baby, to rock my career while I can, because once everything is set up and it's on its 10 toes down, it's gone. So.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, Darrell, as a manager, not only maybe helping him reach new audiences, but also on the business side, networking, what tools do you find most effective?
Oh man, both platforms, Facebook and for business, a lot of times it's Facebook, just because a lot of the executives are on there. It's when I do direct message on both, but I just like either platform. I'm the type of person, just put me in the room, I'm gonna make it work. So,
And I see you on every platform, by the way.
yeah, that's me on, so for me it's real easy. Now I build my own brand. I have my own company, so I build my own brand outside of managing artists. I manage Theo because I love Theo. He's my artist, not my client. It's a difference. So we go through the struggle. No, seriously, we go through the struggle together. It's really a different thing. So, but I build my brand on my own. That way, God forbid he says, Darrell, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not just left holding the bag while he, So I use Instagram a lot, and that gets me a lot of traction. Those hashtags. If you're really consistent with your hashtags, you just that really helps. I've got people that reached out to me that want to work with me just by seeing the hashtags I put up and the content that I put up.
So one thing I got to say, I want to interrupt you for one moment, because there is something that I see you use that ironically is very traditional, but I don't see it, and that is literally just getting people's numbers. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay.
Like I've heard you more get people's numbers than get hashtags or even give out, tags, handles, or even give out handles.
Well, I think what it is now is because at the end of the day, people lose business cards. So, but if you're my phone, as much like he was saying earlier, if I text you, my phone's over there, but I can't show people. But I literally have all the contact people I meet in my phone, and you're tagged by what you do. So if I want to go on my phone, find all producers, just type in producer in my phone. I can now contact you to do business. So. This is 2018. We in the tech industry. We in the tech world. So we gotta understand that business cards, it still works, but you gotta get tech savvy. And you gotta be able to have platforms that allow you to do it easier, more efficiently. So every time I speak, I'm like, yo, text me direct. And then people feel more connected that way. Like he was saying earlier, if they can feel like they can text you directly and you respond to them, for some reason it makes them feel like, wow, he really cares.
Yeah.
So now there's some tools in there that help us to do it more efficiently. Right. But for the most part, it's really great. I really love that tool, and I love building that way, building relationships, and it's a relationship business.
Right. So let's. It's also a business, right? And in business, we spend money. So I would love if you folks don't mind sharing. I know Ashley mentioned Facebook ads. Obviously, we have Instagram ads. If you guys don't mind, everyone, tell us what platforms, and it doesn't have to be any of the social media platforms, but what platforms have you chosen or maybe tested spending money on, even if it's a subscription or if it's kind of like a freemium model where you start here and you pay a little extra to get here? Are there any that you might be able to share with us that you've either dabbled in or maybe that you currently use that are paid?
I think Instagram. Because Instagram, it's because it's cost effective. It doesn't cost that much.
No.
Because it can get expensive. So like they have, you could do $7 for, you can do $7 a day, and that's within a budget for an artist. Because we all know most artists have no money. So to put in the advertising. So you gotta have a simple, more cost-effective platform. So I think Instagram is tied in with Facebook. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's
I mean to second in with you, I say Instagram, but like you said, a hidden keynote. I'm gonna give artists kind of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I say, okay, if I can go out and spend from $6 to $9 on a value meal for one of these corporations that sell meals,
Mm-hmm.
why I can't spend it on me?
Mm-hmm.
Why Theo can't spend it on Theo Lodge?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's why everything I value, I'm like, if I could go out and buy that shirt, if I could go buy that $100 outfit Friday, so that means I had $20 a day I could have used to promote myself and get myself better. So that's what I do. I don't, when I see something, I'm like, I like that outfit. Boom. I take that price, I put it to work. You said you liked this 170, that's our budget this week. Or when them Jordans come out, 220, this is my budget this week. So if I'm gonna do 220, I'm gonna promote a song, a video, or something with views. You know, and that's what I do, because I feel like if you could give your money to somebody else, why you can't give it to yourself?
right.
Invest in yourself.
Right.
Right.
So that's one of my hidden secrets.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, I would say Instagram too. Google also. Google Ads is big too. You know, we always say, like, it's so funny, you'll be talking about something and then you'll see an ad for it somewhere on your Facebook or your Instagram or your social media, where you're like, I swear I was just talking about this. How did they know? And Google Ads is really great about that too. If you search something even one time, it's going to come back. It's going to come back somewhere. So I have found, you know, if it's not Instagram or Facebook ads, you know, Google ads have been, you know, really helpful as well. And that to me has also helped me not only for US outreach, but for international outreach. Just anywhere in the search bar, you have Bing, you just have a bunch of search engines that if you kind of use some of their adding and their advertising, it reaches multiple different outreach, big markets.
So I would love to learn a little bit about expenses, kind of going back to that theme of being overseas. I would imagine it costs a lot more to travel internationally than it does in your backyard. So if you don't mind maybe telling us a little bit about what some of those expenses are, and also maybe ways that you mitigate those expenses.
Okay, well, I was waiting on this topic. Expenses. Once again, you have to value yourself. So when you have something coming up, you know, everything counts. So I'm gonna give you an example. I was in Europe for 2 months, right? But this is where it hurts. I had to take 2 bags. Cost of fit, you take 1. I had to take 2 because you don't know if you're gonna be. Is Airbnb gonna have a washing machine? You know anything, so you carry a lot. Plus, you got to carry merch. This, that, and the third. So you got to take clothes for Theo. I had to take clothes for Theo and Theo Lodge. And with the expenses, I told myself, I said, you're probably going to spend anywhere from $200 to $300 a week. So budget that in. I said 8 weeks times that by 3. I say at minimum, before we take a step out, I need $2,500. So I know everything is covered. Not to say I'm gonna go spend this amount there just to be on the safe side. And once you get there, you might have, for example, last year, I was on stage rocking out with Wyclef. I just got the Samsung 8. First day in France. I broke my phone. Screen cracked and everything, and I went to the store, and they said €600. That's what in the budget. So, you know, just the little things like that, it could kind of dampen you, but I was able to use the Rails phone. So when you're by yourself, I would have had to do it, but it would have shortened my trip. Being that when you go with people, and that's why you travel in a team, that way if something like that occurs or it comes up, everything's good to go. Yeah. And like I said, reach out, and I have, you know, sponsors. Got a good friend, Benny, who, you know, it's good to meet with. The reason why I say Benny is good to meet with people that understand the struggle. I try to link with people that had a struggle and was able to go ahead, but also look back while they're climbing up. It's a lot of people, they had the struggle, and once they get ahead, they forget they had the struggle. And we all in the same game, just trying to get better and better every day. So that's why I see with expenses, you find somebody that understands it, that can help you also, and then when they do help you, make sure you calculate it out right. So calculated moves.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say, most of the same kind of expenses other than the typical norm. So your travel expenses, your food expenses, safety is a big expense. I'm 5 foot. So, I am a second degree black belt in Taekwondo, so I know I can defend myself. But when you have a ton of, that's for real, really, I really am. But
I didn't doubt it.
Yeah, no, I really am. And so I don't worry, my mama will worry about me 10 times, but I'm okay. I feel like I can defend myself. But when you have a ton of people around you, it's very nerve-wracking for you to go to the airport, or sometimes you just want a moment to yourself because you've been talking about yourself all day. You're kind of sick of yourself. So it's you got security, you have just your normal, and heaven forbid if you bring a band. Well, that's a huge expense. And as we were mentioning earlier, it's that's an expense that if there's a way to do without it, not to leave instrumentalists out because they are fundamentally why we have music. But if there's a way for you to either be your own band or do it where everyone is either chipping into it, or if you have funding to afford everybody, a band can be very costly. And just normal travel, if you lose your suitcase. I've been in a situation where I went over to Europe and I lost my suitcase. And the airline lost it. I never had any clothes, so I was walking around at Naples in 6-inch platform heels and black jeans for 2 days. And Naples is very the gravel. It was, my feet were cut up. So there's certain expenses that you don't account for, such as you were mentioning, breaking your phone, me losing my suitcase, having to buy something completely that you're not accustomed to, and it being a complete different price point than you imagined. So you have to start off with, you have to know you have to account for incidentals and account for accidents to happen and wiggle room. There's a bunch of gray area, and make sure that you're marking and mapping out the needs, the essentials that you need, like necessity, versus what you want to do. So maybe it's maybe we grab a sandwich here and not stop at the nicest restaurant for dinner. Maybe it's it's a grab and go situation.
Absolutely.
And it's all the grind when you're overseas, especially, and taking into account different cultures as well. So, and different price points, whether it be from Asia to Europe to the UK, and just kind of basing it off of as much research as you can do. That's how I base off my
and
expenses.
The currency, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Exchange.
You don't want to go over there and just be like, well, we'll assess what we spent when we come back. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
It depends on how long you're going to be, where you're staying, what you're getting, and once you have all the necessities out of the way, then maybe you can budget out for if you need extras and special things. If someone gets hurt, I've had that happen where someone on the road gets hurt, and that's really hard. Finding medical care, them not understanding your insurance, or paying for it out of pocket. That's a really big thing that you just have to take. You can't just pray and hope and wish and nothing will happen.
Right.
So there's a great chance that somebody could get hurt, or they get hit by a something could happen. You just don't know. So I base it off of I include accidents, things that could possibly happen,
right.
and I go with the highest number.
Right.
And if I come back with a little bit of extra dough, I ain't mad about it.
Then you
I'm
won.
not mad about it. I win at the end of the day.
So I would like to wrap up. We're running out of time, so I want to wrap up by getting a piece of advice from everyone on this table. It could be related to maybe securing spaces or securing shows overseas or something else. I'll go ahead and start. And from my perspective, being in media for quite some time, my biggest, I would say, point of pain when I come across an artist that has either reached out or I have discovered, and maybe I want to give them a little bit of shine, is that in this era of social media, which is a beautiful thing, people have forgotten, I think, the fundamentals. Number one, having a website that has all the information that someone might want or need if they are going to give you some press, like a bio, having a bio, having a little bit of history, having some photos that are usable that you didn't just take on your phone last week.
Sure.
Those kinds of things seem like the most trivial, basic things, and I will tell you that so many times I come across new, amazing talent, and I have to dig so much for that in some cases it's a turnoff, and I just, back up.
Sure.
So I want to move over to our other media person and get some feedback. What kind of advice would you give an artist today?
Just be prepared, whether it's an artist or even with traveling overseas as well.
It could be anything.
I think with overseas, just from listening to these two artists with Theo, you guys kept talking about being prepared and just having like anything in case of an emergency. I think that's very important. Just like you said, anything could just pop up, anything could happen. So just be prepared. If you're brand spanking new, you don't have your passport, like you want to plan ahead. If it's booking shows, you want to plan ahead. You don't want to be too last minute, because what if everything's booked up and what you're traveling for? So just be extra prepared. And that's pretty much it.
Be prepared.
Be
Boy
prepared.
Scouts and Girl Scouts.
Just
You
stay
got one
topic
over
of
on them.
international stuff. Understand this: when you go into a new city the first time, new market, they're not going to pay you. So do not ask for money for your shows. Once you get on the ground, you can make money there, but don't think that they're just going to pay you because you have talent. This is the talent business. This is the music business. So always understand that there will be a cost to go and to break into these new markets, because you're building new fans, new supporters. So always remember that it's okay. It's an investment. It's not a pay-to-play thing. It's an investment. And, you may not see that return right away. I know with Theo, we talk about that all the time. It ain't about seeing a return right away. Yeah. You know the return's going to come later on. So always remember that.
And I heard you say merch, so I'm assuming have some merch, because that might be your payment.
Yes, right, exactly.
And to add my advice, kind of what you said, being prepared, but also to the artist that's coming up, don't try to skip steps.
Right.
You can't skip steps, because when you do, you're going to make it a hard fall when you fall back, because every step is vital. Every step means something. I'm telling you this because I went through it, and I don't want you guys to go through it. And it's just, don't worry about your friends hyping you up. Don't worry about this, that, and the third. You look in that mirror, and you tell that person looking back at you, I believe in you, and we going to do it. After that, all you need is two people to believe in you. Right. Fine. You believe in yourself, and somebody else believe, and it will happen. But you can't rush it. It's God's speed, for one. Put the seatbelt on and enjoy the ride.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah, my advice, that's great advice. Just be yourself. But what you were mentioning earlier is just being authentic. And we see so many artists who just try to piggyback or backpack off. I can't tell you how many times I've turned on the radio. Sometimes I stop listening to it just because you look at the artist and you're like, I swear to goodness, I thought that was somebody else. I swear I thought that was them. And then, it's just so many, there's why, that phrase, why you want to be like everybody else when you're born to stand out. And I really believe in that, being different and being me. And if somebody likes you, like, hell, you like you. So that's all that's important.
Yeah.
And my second tiny little piece of advice, which is a little bit more on the darker side, is even though it seems almost unattainable or unaffordable, especially as an independent artist, sometimes it is crucial to have a really, really good lawyer and attorney. And I have learned that the hard way, especially in writing. If you're writing with somebody, have your contracts right, and make sure if you don't understand the wording on there, make sure somebody in your party does. There's nothing worse than, and luckily I was safe in this instance, but when you write a song and you have it and someone takes claim over it, it's like delivering a baby and somebody saying, hey, I just had that child. No, you didn't. It's mine. Right. So having a good attorney or a great support system on the back end, or at least be in contact with somebody who could defend you or who could help you, and time stamping some of your songs and making sure that they're copyrighted is so crucial, especially in this day and age when people are trying to make money and make money off of you. You're a product at the end of the day.
On your copyright.
True.
On your copyright.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, wonderful advice from everyone on the table. And we have an extra special treat. We have two artists that are going to be performing for this turntable. So definitely stay tuned for both Theo Lodge and also Ashley J. and we'll see you next time on the turntable. Thank you.